Hello. You, you can see things, but we can't hear anything. Is that hello? We can't hear anything.
I hear you very well.
You can hear me? Hello?
Yes, my name is Michel Weiss. I can hear you very well.
Oh, that's very good. So we don't need to worry. ผมต้องการทำพิเศษในทางจำนวนและพิเศษผมต้องการให้พิเศษเป็นอย่างแก่แล้วผมต้องการให้ได้ทำหน้าที่มากในคุณเป็นไปออกแบบทางให้ผมใหม่พิเศษอย่างแก่ยอมที่คือ This is very simple because I understand very like all man very simple maybe thank you okay from now on I would like to perform some movement I would like you to design for me create some อนไม่หลับเจ้าเป็น
Hello. Okay, I think this is one of the big problems when you work with the AI technology. It's a lot of mistakes, and it's a lot of work. And you need a big team to support. This is one of my work. We call humans co-dancing with AI. It's not okay. Uh, can you send the chat on screen? I think I share already. Yes, it's coming. Yes, this is one of my work in 2020, 22. Yes, I think. Uh-huh. Yeah, because during the COVID time, I had a lot of time, and then during that time, I worked with one of scientists, the group of the scientists, about AI and technology. Yeah. One of my research is when Thai classical dance is very related or connect to the technology. I found one photo is very strong in 1923. Yeah, I think that is the first time in Thailand the technology has a lot of big influence from Thai classical dance because that is the first time we transform a painting, a drawing from the temple into the photo. Yeah. Yes, in 1923. Yes, I think the technology and AI is become a part of traditional dance already in 1923. But we think technology and AI and classical dance and traditional dance is like not together. But if you go back into like a history of dance research, you will find some very like connected. And that's when I found that photo, it's become like the idea uh, nowadays and like about technology and AI. And then I very like seriously focus, continue. How can I like trans body or technique movement from the traditions into something else? And in 2004 until 2019, uh, I do a research, one project. It's quite take long for 15 years. We call it number 60. Yeah. Is the number 60 is a project to deconstructing all the movements in 59 poses, basic vocabulary for training in Thai classical dance. One of the strong question is, when you went into class, study with master, you know it or you are remember it. My answer is, we are remember everything, but we did not know anything because that is start from 700 years ago. It's become a good, very like hard work for 15 years to understand, what is the Thai classical dance knowledge behind the movements or something inside. And again, in 2019, I found the number 60 because the original is 59 poses, and then I'm looking for the number 60. Yes, and unfortunately, at the end of the research, we failed. We didn't get a number 60. Yes, is a number 60 is become a concept to produce a technique, a body, a movement. It's more stronger than 60. It's a millions of movements. And 2021, that is during the COVID time. We more like very focusing on virtual reality, how we can transfer a body or movements into the virtual reality. And then we create a space from the internet and then transfer all the movements into the virtual reality. And then all the diagram and everything, you can use the VR and then go into this space. Then again in 2021, I'm very like serious to create the AI model. It's possible dancer can communicate or talk in like two-way communication with the AI. And then I work with Pat Patranupapon. He's a professor from MIT Media Lab. He's specialist about like AI and technology. And we like discuss and work together for 3 years to produce one project we call Cyber Subin. Yes, cyber is a cyborg. Subin is a dream. It's a dream of me, a dream of cyborg, or a dream of Thai classical dance. We didn't know yet. Yes, and that is the process of work we take from, I think, around like almost 20 years to create a model of, we call model of Thai model AI. It's a Thai DNA. Because when you're looking for the AI, all the program and everything is like a Western technology, Western program, blah, blah, blah. But for the AI we create from the DNA of 6 elements in Thai traditional technique. And then we transfer and put into the model of the AI, and we call this is Thai AI. Yes, you can talk in Thai. Okay, the diagram you saw from the video, this is we call basic vocabulary diagram. This done in 2019. We are very proud of it because this is in that time we can teach students online by this diagram. Because all the diagram is about 59 poses and structure and frame and movement. During the COVID time, we just like go into the diagram and then you move this way, you move that way. I think this diagram is like solve a lot of problem in that time. This one we call diagram of the Mabotjai, but it's not a diagram of the number 60. And this is the diagram of the number 60. It's the new diagram. It's a new way of interpret of Thai classical dance. Yes. And in the process of research and then looking for a structure and then create the diagram, we found very strong idea inside. We call elements. It's 6 elements inside of 59 poses. Yes. Yes. This is the video which we create in the like a simple way to make people understand that. And again, in 2021, we work with the animations to transform the body movements. Yes, in the different way. This one is for kids. It's like for kids to study in the new way of the tradition. That they can make fun or they can create this kind of movements by themselves because the program is free online. We just like go into a website and then give the photo of tradition and they create the diagram and then they can make it. It's a very like simple way. Yes. Mhm. And again, we work on the dancer. I work with my dancer in the company. Yes, about the technique from the new way of learning. And we connect into the mojo captions and send the body of the dancer into the virtual world. Yeah. Mm. Yes. This idea we are like working in during the COVID time. Mhm. Yes, this is the virtual. It's a VR program. You can see the line. All that is all the 59 of the diagram. And the model, this is from my early work, around like 5 or 6 production. I transfer all the material into the virtual reality because this is a good archive to keep everything into internet or websites. People can go and then can talk. Because one of my plan is I will correct all my interview, my work, everything in the virtual world. After I pass away, people can wear the VR and then go to talk to me as an AI. Yeah. Anything you want to ask me, you can go into the websites and then to the virtual and then talk. Yeah. It's one of the problem in the traditional way is if one master have 10 students, 10 students have different idea. When you ask, what is your master talking to you? What is your master talking to you? They give you a different idea in 10 people. I think if I create this one, I just like, okay, me, come talk to me directly. Yeah. Don't be fight. Yes. And this, yeah, okay, I would like to share about the process of cyber subin. I think it's very interesting idea about the cyber subin because this is first time I very like jump into the science, work with the technologies. One of my question is it's impossible to humans and can co-dancing with the AI. Yes. And the PP send me back about the informations about the cybernetics. Yeah, and then we start the concept of the cybernetic dance. The cybernetic is very simple, like two-way communications, and then you can see the cybernetic all around you. For example, is like basic cybernetic is about the moon and the water, the sun and the tree. Yeah, it's like they are very like connected. Or more complicated is about the animal. Yeah, a bird and butterfly. A bird is like here, butterfly is here. Yeah, and the bird want to eat the butterfly. Butterfly is far away. The bird is follow. This is cybernetics. Yeah, it's a two-way communication. And one of the most very like complicated to understand the cybernetic is a human. Uh, because you can ignore, you can get angry, you can say I love you, but people want to kill you. That is one of very complicated. So cybernetic is a human. Yeah. And then we start to work in this project from the cybernetic dance. The concept of the cybernetic is came from Norbert Weiner, one of the professor in US from the Second World War. Yeah. They are starting about the war by the tanks and the missile and then how US can win the war. Yeah, because every time when they send the missile, they miss all the time. That's the cybernetic is like a sensor to follow. That's why US is win the war. Yes. In this project, we combine like traditions, and then the diagram and the cybernetic and the tech team. Is a big team come together and work. Yes, I can show you some process. This is what we are working on. Mhm. Yes. Yes, this is one of the exercise in my studio, but this is not a complete two-way communication. It's still one-way communication. The dancer, uh, we have a mojo captions, and then we record everything, and then we transfer into the AI. But this is like AI is not give the back of a new movement, just like follow the dancer, or sometimes the dancer is follow the AI. Yes. Uh, uh, and this is a real production. This choreography is generated by audience. The audience generate the movements from the AIs, and the AIs change or develop from the diagram from elements we give, and the dancer like recreate again. Yes. Okay. I will show you at once and uh, okay. Yes. This is a website. Now we have finished this website already. We call Cyber Subin School. Yes, we would like to create a website, a school for high school students, because we have a lot of problem with high school students right now about the tradition. The question is why we learn Thai classical dance for what? And we create a school we call Cyber Subin School. This school, the students can go into the websites, and then they can create their own movements or body technique from AI. And even they can give like a words or text. I love you so much, and then the AI create a new traditional body movements for them. Yes, this is a process right now. We are working on humans co-dancing with AI. Yes. Okay, yes, and all the project I give you, I talk to you from 2019 until right now. I would like to say thank you for supporting by um Korean governments, uh, Taiwanese governments, Indonesian governments, Japanese governments, Singapore governments to support my work. Yes, thank you very much today. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you very much. That was our keynote performance and keynote address by Pishet Kanchun, who's um, dancer and choreographer, artistic director of Pishet Kanchun Dance Company, and also the head of Thailand's subcommittee, soft power committee in performing arts.
But I don't have any power. Okay? Even myself, I can't survive.
Okay, so we're moving on. We have a lead discussant who will have a few comments, and then we will open the floor, including those in Zoom and on Facebook live as well. Please welcome Hannah Strechkova from IATC Czechia.
Thank you very much. So this is a Q&A, so don't be shy to ask some of you the questions, because it was so interesting performance lecture. Thank you for that again. And I'm very curious about AI and AI dance and preserving the cultural heritage of Thai. So how do you feel it can attract young people, like this kind of training? And also, do you feel this training can replace masters? this virtual training can replace the masters of traditional Thai dance?
No, impossible. It's impossible. This is, I think people very like concerned about this all the time. People asking me, you think after you have AI, the master or training is still? I say no, impossible. Yeah, because of okay, one idea. When you stop to create or thinking, you have stopped to hazard your own imagination. That's the AI can take place. If you are still, have questions, curious about work, create a new work, or blah blah blah, it's impossible for AI. Is AI is behind you? The AI is a material to give your dream come true. Yes.
Yes, so it's the first step to attract potential students of traditional Thai dance to visit your website to try and then go and follow the master. So also, I have a question before some question will appear from the audience. As in the traditional Thai dance, there are the characters. So the vocabulary of 59 movements is the base, which is global, universal for every characters.
In 59 poses is special for male and female for the training. But for the giants and monkey, they use upper body movements from 59 poses too. But for the leg, it's different. It's half and half. Yeah, for male and female, yes.
And also, do you keep the gender in a traditional Thai dance? So male can learn only male gender and female can learn only female gender?
No. Yeah. I think gender is not the point. Yeah, the point is about your face and your body. Yes. Because right now, a lot of the young girl, study monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was I thinking about.
Yeah.
If there could be that switch of gender for the roles of monkey. So, are there any questions from the audience?
Please, we have a microphone.
Yes.
Anyone has a microphone? Okay, here it is.
Can you please introduce yourself and where you're from?
Hello, I'm Catherine Diamond from Taiwan and the Canary Ecological Theatre Project. Seen many of Pidgeot's works. But I want to just ask you about AI in relationship to the history of the Khon. Because, and tell me if I'm wrong, because if the Khon dancer traditionally subordinates personality to the tradition. It's upkeeping the tradition rather than being a star that you go. But you change that somewhat by being more individualistic and experimenting with the form. So I'm wondering in this next step with AI, is it furthering your experimentalization, or is it kind of subordinating the individual dancer back into the more anonymous tradition of training that it originally was?
Okay, thank you. This is, I think, very interesting question about this. We are very serious talking about the model of the AI when we start to create cyber Subin's production. When you look into the AI of the cyber Subin production, you can see it's just like shape of the body is a no gender. Yeah, we are not sure from now. Yeah, what we creating right now about the AI. That's why we are getting stuck and waiting for time for understand the future or understand the traditions or understand what you say. Because when we perform the tradition, we are not like a character ourselves. We are is a medium. We just like go and then do what master want me to do or culture wants me to do. But in this production, we present AI, let's myself, let's a dancer. Yeah, this is we are not has an answer yet. It's a process to understand what I want. Yeah, what I want in the future. I can say this to you. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Thank you. This is Alongkot Maiduang. I'm the Vice President of IATC Thailand. I have one question relating to the a little experiment or demonstration that you just did this morning with the PPEG scene using the AI to create the backdrop of the scene, and then you perform and react to that thing. This changed my thought or point of view, because early on I thought that to create a dance piece, you start with the choreograph, you start with the story, and then you decide the backdrop and setting later according to the story. But this is the other way around. You ask the ChatGPT to create a backdrop, and then you perform, and I suppose you react to the thing that the ChatGPT created to you. Could you elaborate this kind of a process of reacting to what the AI created for you to a certain success, I would say?
I think this process came from my daughter. Yes, because my daughter is 12 years old. She has her own like iPad, and then she creates some things from the iPad. And then after she creates a photo, a drawing, as an observer, as a father, I can feel her take her creation from the iPad into her body, to her action like that. And then this is for me is very strong. How the equipments, I call the material, has changed your personality, changed your movements, or changed your idea. Yeah, and this is very like relates into a new generation right now, because all the kids has like material. If I work with in this direction, I will understand them more, or they can go to the opposite way to come close into the tradition. Not from the master, but it's from the material, and the material equal to the master. Yeah, it's like do the opposite way, but at the end, you move them into the tradition. Yes. Mhm. Mhm. Yes.
Thank you for the performance lecture. I'm Dai Rong from Taiwan. I'm the president of IATC Taiwan section. I saw your new work last year in Taipei, and my question is about the position of the audience, because in the performance, that at the very end part, that the controller will hand into the audience and they can set the different factors and to create the movement that the dancers will do on stage.
Mhm.
And my question is, so talking about cybernetics, so if it's a kind of like what you describe, a interaction between different parts of a system through feedback and through communication, then how do you put the viewer or the audience in this whole system? Or for you, there's no audience and performance anymore. Everyone are the actor or doer in a way. So I would like to know more about what you think about this.
Yes, I think this is at the you mentioned is the last part of the end of the show. Yeah, because the last part of the end of the show is not a two-way communication in the normal like AI and dancer. It's part of AI, audience, AI and dancer. Audience, AI and dancer. Yeah, it's the technology, and then the AI is become a medium. Yeah, how humans use the technology to destroy the humans. This is something happened right now. Yeah, if you have better technology, you can do better than another. That's why, as the last, the audience generate 300% speeds, 300%, and the audience almost dying in 300%. Yes, and you use the technology to humans. Humans use technology for humans. Yeah, this is, and then some humans they are very like concerned. They say, okay, oh, I do wrong. Okay, 10%, and they make slower. This kind of idea to go jump into the future for Cyber Subin project as the last part about humans, technology, and humans, not humans and AI. Yeah, how humans use the technology to affect or have something with the humans. Yeah, in the community. Yes.
Thank you. We have 5 more minutes for questions, so please don't hesitate because then we have to go forward. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm Papichaya Waradinan. I'm a student, a year 2 student at Balak Faculty of Arts. I'm a student of Atanpawit actually. So I wanted to ask that since the AI program is based on Mebot Yai, right? The traditional Thai dance framework. But I noticed that the movements it creates look really, really like rather modern, and like the original elements can't really be, isn't really like visible. So to what extent do you think this still counts as preserving the tradition? And also if the AI had been trained on like a different type of dance, like do you think the outcome would actually like be different? And would we actually be able to tell that it's like a kind of preservation of a certain tradition?
Okay, I think from the program we create, we have a number, like this is 50% movement. 50% of the movements is like, this is a traditional movement and traditional circle and curve. When you generate like 55%, the curve of the arm more straight. And if you go into like 100%, maybe you go like this. Yeah. It makes it more clear. When you go more higher, you come closer into another technique. And then give you technique. In this diagram and program we create, right now we jump into another idea of the next production we call phylogenetic tree of dance. Yeah, the phylogenetic tree of dance is we would like to know the connections in between dance all over the world. Who is connected to who? Who is close to who? Yeah, it's a big tree. Yeah, it's a big tree. The first start project we call a phylogenetic tree of dance in Southeast Asia. We start in Southeast Asia first, and then we extend more into the world. Yeah, this is it came from what you are mentioned about like a program, and then after program it's go to where. And after we create the program and everything, we know what is the position of Thai classical dance is. Okay, we are stay in this position, and if you are go further than this, you out of the tradition. Go back into the basic training from the master. The question is how the master understand this is wrong, this is right, because they has an imagination about curve, shape, a body. Yeah, but they cannot give you exactly in the number. From the Cyber Subin is give you exactly number for non-Thai classical dance school. Okay, it's like high school, normal high school can use it. But for the traditional dance school, from my research, it doesn't matter. It's not important at all. Yeah, I think I'm focusing on like high school students. Yes. This is the idea of all the project.
Thank you. Thank you. And there is a last question from Ted Motoashi from AICT. He says, thanks for the wonderful presentation indeed. You say the masters cannot be replaced by the AIs, which seems obvious, but I think we do not need to make a definite distinction between technologies and performance arts, because even the traditional dancers have been helped by most advanced technologies of the time. So we should look at the junctures rather than the cleavages between the animal energies and the non-animal energies in a transhuman fashion.
Yes.
It's like a statement comment for the end of the Q&A and your performance lecture. If you would like to comment it.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Just a question. It's not a question. It's just a response.
Yeah. It was, So thank you very much for attending the conference and open the second day of the conference. Thank you for all questions.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes the keynote performance and lecture. Okay, we're moving on. Okay, to our paper presentation session, and in this session, we have the president of Quebec Association of Theatre Critics, Sophie Bouillot, to be the moderator. S'il vous plaît, Sophie. Okay.
It is with great pleasure that I will moderate this part of the day, and I'm glad to be with you all today, live and on the web. So, we welcome first Tamara Vazdigova, a PhD student at the Institute of Theatre and Film Studies, Art Research Center of the Slovak Academy of Sciences, to present her paper, From Absurdity to Algorithm, the Evolution of Performative Dramaturgy in the Age of Transhuman.
So, thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to speak at a conference like this. It's a really great chance for
We don't
me.
hear you, Tamara.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you for this opportunity to speak here, because it's a great chance for me as a PhD student to speak at a forum like this. And so my paper aims to study the contextual and linguistic and philosophical connections between the mid-20th century works of absurdist playwrights and what now in 21st century artificial intelligence writes for theater, centered around AI-generated texts in Czechoslovakian context, to describe the interconnections and breaking points more deeply. So, the theater of the absurd evolved in response to the difficult social political climate in the mid-20th century, shaped by two world wars and the industrial revolution's mechanization of life, to which dramaturgy of the theater of the absurd both reflected and critiqued. This leads us to present times, into the 21st century, where the fragmented and individualized world has now various digital technology at its disposal, specifically the still evolving trend of artificial intelligence, or the so-called creative artificial intelligence powered by algorithms. This phenomenon has already largely influenced, as we could see, the art and the creative industry, including fine arts and visual arts, literature, but also film and theater. So this paper does not aim to comprehensively map the development of performative dramaturgy in our context, but rather focuses on selected moments where the aesthetic strategies of absurdist theater intersect with the contemporary AI-generated dramaturgy. Large language models operate on the principle of predicting the probability of word sequences, meaning that their texts are not the result of a creative process, but rather a statistical analysis of datasets on the basis of which they were trained on. And here is the key: they are not programmed, rather trained. So for today, LLMs are something you can train, but in the place that we mention later, were attempts to just let the AI work as freely as possible to show what it does. And that is where the real similarity to the theater of the absurd comes. LLMs still deliver only a result. Here, there is some kind of average of the data put into it, but they are trained on vast amounts of textual data, enabling them to generate dialogues, narratives, and dramatic situations. While their texts may appear coherent and stylistically polished, they often lack deeper contextual logic, philosophical motivation, and motivation of characters for a complex dramatic structure, but they still appear similar to the theater of the absurd. Nietzsche's famous quote, "God is dead," is not a declaration of the decline of religious faith, but a recognition of the fragmentation of thought that followed. Without a unifying philosophical and metaphysical center, and also all the 20th century historical events, the world lost its shared meaning and evolved itself to uncertainty. The theater of the absurd emerged as a response to this disorientation, expressing the tragic comedy of a world where meaning had become unreliable and existence itself seemingly inevitable, but without purpose. Today, we find ourselves in a similar condition. The unifying direction is long gone. We are constantly hit by information and hybrid operations, but something else is emerging to rule our thoughts. The world, as we know it today, is increasingly shaped by technocracy and algorithms, systems that, whether we embrace them willingly or not, shape our perception of reality. In the absence of God order or metaphysical direction, we turn to social media, internet, and most importantly, for our case, the artificial intelligence and machine learning models. So much like the arrival of industrial revolution threatened human labor and sparked existential anxieties in the past century, so does the rise of AI provoke fears about what it means to be human, and what is more important, what it means to be a worthy human, in our case, in creative work. The transhuman, defined by transhumanists as a state of being on a way to post-humanity, influenced heavily by technologies, that is who we are today. Many transhumanist philosophers believe that we are no longer purely human in the traditional sense, but we are rather transhuman, already intertwined with algorithms, neural networks, and systems that shape our perception of creativity and communication. We exist in a space where human intelligence is increasingly influenced by machine intelligence. We rely on algorithms, use of social media, artificially intelligent chatbots, and other parts of the internet, such as drives and all kinds of clouds. And the evolution towards posthumanity is not a future event, it is happening right now. And as we transition towards the posthuman, we face the same existential threats that also influence creators of the theater. It raises the question whether we are replaceable. Language models do not create meaning, they rather predict it, showing us the most commonly occurring patterns and connections. In some way, our discourse is no longer shaped by theological or philosophical authority, but by statistical frequency that goes from LLMs to social media, algorithms which appear to shape our realities. In this sense, LLMs are a paradoxical phenomenon, and they are also heavily influenced on us training and prompting them. So for now, it is always the person behind the computer who gives them a direction. One of the primary challenges of using LLMs in drama writing is their ability to create stories with a consistent narrative arc. While they can convincingly produce short, isolated dialogues, their limitations become apparent in longer texts. Repetitive themes, inconsistent characters, and weak dramatic tension. This, however, has changed already over the past few years. The line of evolving is visible if we compare three texts from the Czechoslovakian context, and that is Czech play AI When Robot Writes a Play, Prague 2019, then play Prague Clockwork Cabaret from 2022, and then the first version of Truth that had premiered in Žilina in Slovakia last year in November. So this is a short time gap in which we can see developed dialogues, longer monologues, and stronger story. The selected texts were chosen to because they hold strong contextual relevance to our own Czechoslovakian cultural and theatrical landscape. In the first one, the AI When Robot Writes a Play, we see 9 short stories in one play, which are connected only via the main character, the robot. In the second example, however, we can already see a story. Not a creative one, rather one based on many detective novels and shows, but already it is a story. In the theater of the absurd, cycles are a conscious artistic choice, a reflection of the playwright's personal worldview and philosophical position. Playwrights like Beckett and Ionesco used repetition and circular structures to capture the inevitability of human existence, depicting characters caught in loops of meaninglessness, unable to landscape the absurdity of their condition. These cycles were the depiction of existential paralysis, reflecting a world where time progresses but nothing truly changes, and where language, action, and purpose all fell into absurd repetition. In AI-generated theater, cyclical patterns also emerged, but they do so for entirely technical reasons, not philosophical ones. LLMs, as we discussed earlier, generates text by predicting the most statistically probable next word or phrase based on patterns they've learned from their training data. When the dataset is also limited, or when the algorithm's probabilistic tendencies converge too strongly, the model loops back on itself, repeating phrases, revisiting familiar structures, and reusing the same patterns. These cycles are not reflections or conscious thought of intentional critique, but symptoms of statistical overfitting, where a system becomes trapped within the limits of its own learned probabilities. In both cases, we see a world where progress feels illusory and where characters, ideas, and words seem destined to repeat themselves endlessly, whether as a reflection of existential dread or as a consequence of algorithmic limitation. The key difference lies in the authorial presence behind these cycles. In absurdist theater, cyclical patterns reflect an individual's intentional decision to portray the world as a series of repetitive, unresolved struggles. In AI-generated theater, cyclical patterns are the product of mathematical probability, a side effect of machines' inability to generate true novelty. Language in the theater of the absurd was often raw, direct, deliberately stripped, or embellishment. This linguistic roughness was a conscious artistic strategy, a way of absurdist playwrights to capture the disjointed, disillusioned spirit of the post-World War. The brutality and absurdity of human existence as they saw it demanded a language that was equally unpolished and unfiltered. In contemporary algorithmic theater, we encounter a similar directness through pure, entirely different reasons. In AI-generated theater, such as When Robot Writes a Play or Clockwork Cabaret, the language is often surprisingly blunt, explicit, and even prepped with biases, stereotypes, and and offensive terms. However, unlike the carefully chosen provocations, these linguistic choices are not the product of individual artists' intent, but rather the statistical reflection. I have an example of the explicitly sexual content actually in AI when robot writes a play, when robot goes with the sentence like, I'm going to take you into a place, there will be lots of fun, and we will make love. I can't help but make love to you. And then my favorite one actually, where Ludwig van Beethoven, the famous composer, says to Karel Gott, the most famous pop singer in Czech Republic, like, look, I'll say that straight. If you make us listen to the demented song of yours again, I will break your bones and burn them. Despite their vastly different origins, both absurdist and algorithmic theater language reflect the societies that produced them. Absurdist playwrights filtered their cultural critique through their own individual artistic lenses, producing language that was both personal and politically charged. AI-generated language, on the other hand, is the product of statistical averaging and synthesis of millions of voices, none of which are individually responsible, yet all of which contribute to the final output. This averaged voice lacks the intentional art of the absurdists, but it offers a unique kind of sociological document, a language pieced together from all the data uploaded on the internet. Ultimately, both absurdist and algorithmic dramaturgy confront us with uncomfortable questions about language, authorship, and the role of theater in society. But while the absurdists were recognized eventually as avant-garde visionaries, AI-generated theater is still trapped in a discourse of suspicion and resistance. So, will AI-generated theater reshape how audiences engage with dramatic texts? Does the role of the playwright transform when algorithmic authorship becomes part of the creative process? And as we move further into a transhumanist era, will the boundaries between human and machine creativity dissolve altogether? These questions mark not only the beginning of a larger inquiry into how digital dramaturgy challenges theatrical structures, audience reception, and artistic agency. Future research will need to investigate how AI-generated theater is performed and interpreted, whether as a mere technological novelty or as a legitimate evolution of contemporary dramaturgy. However, what remains clear is that we are not merely witnessing a technological shift, but a philosophical one. AI dramaturgy does not just imitate absurdism. It exposes the very mechanisms by which meaning is created, negotiated, and erased. Just as theater of the absurd forced audiences to confront the instability of meaning, AI-generated dramaturgy forces us to confront the instability of authorship itself. For now, we all continue to wait, like Vladimir and Estragon, for an AI that truly understands rather than merely generates. But as in Beckett's world, the waiting itself may be the point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tamara. Now we are joining on Zoom Ted Motohashi, President of IATC Japan Center and Professor at Tokyo University of Economics. He will present to us his paper, Between Technology and Ecology, reflecting on the transhuman in Gilgamesh, Suzuki, and A Midsummer's Night Dream.
Thanks. Can you hear me? Thanks, Sophie. Thanks, everyone.
We hear you very fine.
Oh, lovely. Lovely, my voice. Okay. Hello, everyone. Old friends, good friends, all good friends, and new friends too. Okay. Let's start without much ado. There we go. Okay, you can see this. Right. Okay, that's it. This is the contents. My talk today, humble one, intends to explore the relationship between technology and ecology. And my examples come from the epic of Gilgamesh, the Suzuki Company of Toga, and I will also discuss Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream in order to illuminate the historical antecedents of modern ecological consciousness within our own transhuman existence. Now, my basic thesis is that technology pertains a system of techniques grounded in science whereas ecology relating to natural ecosystems considers human as a part of the planetary system, and theater, utilizing both animal and non-animal energies, is a cultural endeavor at the juncture of technology and ecology. Okay. Among the literary heritage of humanity, one of the first works to articulate the relationship between technology and ecology is the Epic of Gilgamesh, often regarded as the world's oldest story. A Japanese stage adaptation directed by Satoshi Miyagi serves as a pertinent case. The protagonists are Gilgamesh, the king of Uruk, Enkidu, a half-human creature, and Humbaba, the guardian of the cedar forest. Gilgamesh and Enkidu defeat Humbaba and cut down the trees, but Enkidu later dies, leading Gilgamesh to a quest to build the city of Uruk. The core motive of this production lies in questioning the process of civilization which disrupts the habitats of animals and spirits through deforestation, but this production not only questions the urbanization but suggests what theater can accomplish regarding the tension between technology and ecology. Next. Suzuki. Next, I will refer to the theatrical initiatives by Suzuki Tadashi in Toga Village. The practice of the Suzuki Company of Toga are diverse, but I will highlight 4 examples in relation to our present theme. The first example is, as you see, the Gassho-zukuri theater. Gassho-zukuri is a traditional style of Japanese architecture with a thatched roof supported on the steep angled rafters, and the name of Gassho, putting the palms of one's hand together as in a prayer, I know very well, signifies the roof's shape. The Gassho-zukuri represents the crystallization of pre-modern technology as it was constructed using naturally bent trees without nails, capable of withstanding nearly 10 meters of snow in winter and lasting for centuries. This structure now functions as a theater featuring Suzuki's characteristic interplay of light and shadow as a prime example of the convergence of technology and ecology in performing arts. Next, the famous Suzuki actors training method. The Suzuki method focuses on energy production, breath control, and center of gravity control, and aims to intensify their internal relationships. Let us see very briefly what Scott's daily trainings look like. Here we go. Okay, the Suzuki method is characterized by the grammar of the feet that incorporate various forms of walking. A striking illustration of this relationship between feet and ground is the wheelchair. The feet's grounding awareness can be interpreted as the unification of ecological elements with the technological manipulation of wheelchairs representing a profound synthesis of animal and non-animal energies. To this, I would add the use of fireworks, which had, of course, a lot to do with the history of gunpowder technology, both in terms of war and peace. Now, regarding the convergence of theater and fireworks, one must mention Greetings from the Edge of the Earth 1, performed at Toga's Outdoor Theater. I show you a brief excerpt from the last scene of this play. Right. If you really have to see this, you have to come to Toga this summer. Suzuki is now 85 years old. Well, he's still active, but you all have to come to see this because this is the 50th anniversary this year in Toga. Right, Gasho-zukuri Theater, the Suzuki method, wheelchairs and fireworks. Sports practices in Toga exemplify how humans utilize technology and modify their environment. If theater still holds value, the key is to learn from these remarkable practices about how collaboration between technology and ecology could be possible. Now, let us now turn to my observation of the transhumanity in A Midsummer Night's Dream. A Midsummer Night's Dream, as you see, is an ideal play to address the political dynamics of post-colonial intersectionality involved with gender, race, and class issues framed within the dreamlike setting of a forest. First, the motifs of India, as Pak explains the reasons for the discord between Oberon and Titania, the jealousy over a page boy from India has caused the lift. As we read these lines. Now, we should note here that their conflicting interest in the Indian boy symbolizes a local struggle regarding the mastery of the wild nature of the forest. India, as a geographical marker, gains political weight as the natural disorders and supernatural dissensions reflect real-world conflicts of gender and cultural domination. Titania describes the season's alterations thus. I think we should not read these sentences from our human point of view, assuming that there is a dichotomy between the active creatures here embodied by the fairies and the natural habitat, including the seasons and the world. Here, Titania recognizes independent and separate agencies in both wild and four seasons, as she acknowledges that the fairies are merely the third parties in this disorder, which involves the seasons and the world in a mutual, yet in a distinct way. In other words, by asserting that they are the parents and original of the seasonal alterations and world amazement, she tries to regain the fairy's status as the sole agency in controlling the natural elements. Titania's India emerges as a metaphorical, yet politically viable challenge to European male authority. Her recollections of India evoke femininity that resists the encroaching forces of colonialism, as her account suggests that her refusal is rooted in profound loyalty to the memory of the boy's deceased mother. Here, the Titania's eloquent speech, invoking India's sensual landscape and women's joyful community, is a tribute to a female kinship, as these images of fragrant Indian night, swelling sails celebrate female reproductive power. Next, the juice of a western flower. Despite the obvious and ample references to multimyriad non-human creatures in the forest, there has been relatively scant critical attention to plants and flowers in a Midsummer Night's Dream. My intention here is to look at this forest as minutely as possible, not as an abstract entity, but as a concrete and vibrant topos comprised of multi-billion kinds of roots, leaves, twigs, weeds, shrubs, blossoms, seeds, pollens, fungi, and even bacteria. Our herbal inquiry starts with the little western flower, whose significance could also be investigated from the two angles, post-colonial and post-human. First, the post-colonial. The juice evokes European imagination of indulgence in the New World, while also suggesting an alcoholic drink of rum, which was one of the products of the transatlantic triangular trade that entailed the exploitation of indigenous and African people. Similarly, under the Jews' influence, Titania seemingly forgets her loyalty to the women of the Indies, yielding to Oberon's demand for the genuine boy. Then, the second angle, the post-human. One of the reasons we should be attentive to plant lives in terms of the transhuman thinking is that we have to go beyond our commonplace notion of human domination of plants, as it has become increasingly difficult to confidently assert that humans are superior to plants, because plants can live without humans, but humans cannot live without plants. Our aim of transhuman criticism is to go beyond a binary between animals and plants and try to regard animals, including ourselves, as a kind of mobile plants that possess multiple veins inside our bodies that absorb nutrition as if they were roots of a plant. Our focus of herbal inquiry in the play centers around the little western flower, and the key is Huck's mobility that enables him to put a girdle round about the earth in 14 minutes, as he says. Huck is the hyperactive agent of carrying the life sources for the plants from this particular flower to human eyes, as if he were a bee, butterfly, wing, or ocean. I would associate Huck and the little western flower with what Bruno Latour calls an actant, which is a source of action that can be human or non-human, producing effects to alter the course of events. We would argue that all the characters in this forest in A Midsummer Night's Dream are under the mutating effects of these actants. If we juxtapose plants and animals in terms of gender divisions in this play, we notice that Titania is constantly associated with plants, whereas oberon with animals. For instance, oberon depicts a flowery environment that surrounds Titania. This Titania herself expresses her dislike of clamorous owls, and her fairies sing a lullaby warning of spiders, beetles, worms, and snails not to come near her. These fairies, casting a spell against these crawling creatures, are themselves a hybrid of plants and insects. She also orders 4 fairies called peach blossom, cobweb, moth, and mustard seed to look after bottom, suggesting how closely related plants and animals are in the forest. To further pursue the relationship between the plant motifs in the forest with the theatrical environment, we should also notice that the Athenian mechanical rehearse their action in, I think, a marvelous convenient place. Peter says, this green plot shall be our stage, is Fortune break our tiring house. Now, it may be of your interest to know that in Japanese language, a stage play is called shibai, literally meaning gathering or known. So, in that sense, this green plot Peter Quinn says, where the mechanical rehearse is indeed an ideal topos to indicate the close relationship between plant and play. Ultimately, the gender and the environmental discourse are resolved in a post-human fashion in which the lovers rediscover their identities not in terms of animals or plants, but of an inorganic object, i.e., a jewel my own and not my own. As Helena wonders how she has found Demetrius. Motto characteristically recalls his dream in the sensory medley of human mechanical organs, with an ear that sees, a hand that tastes, a tongue that perceives, and a heart that reports. Through the transformative effect by the omnipresent actants in the forest, human and non-human bodies reorganize themselves, responding to each other. In conclusion, paying attention to the plants including pollens, herbs, blossoms, seeds and trees, and their cooperation with the fairies and mechanicals in the Midsummer Night's Dream will encourage us to consider the mutually non-exclusive cohabitation between human and non-human, aristocrats and commoners, natural and supernatural, organic and non-organic. Here, the play with the hyper-mobile agency of fact at the center of exchange and translation, the process of reading and reception not only dissolves social and economic hierarchies as a result of urbanization since Gilgamesh's conquest of the forest, but also questions our own arbitrary categorization of other animal and plant species based on their distance from the human. No time now, to discuss Satoshi Miyagi's wonderful production of A Midsummer Night's Dream back in 2012, just 1 year after the East Japan earthquake that devastated the Burst region of northern Japan, with some 30,000 lives and explosion of nuclear plant in Fukushima. The production situates the forest fairies at the center of the play, and crucially, one character called Mephistopheles instead of the Indian boy. Mephistopheles was turned out to be a native of the forest, and it was him who saved the forest from burning at the end of the play, the image of which did evoke the audience's usage collective memories of learn after reality. My talk today, taking issues with the relationship between technology and ecology, with some emphasis on the forest law, plant entities hopefully contribute to a better understanding of other living and non-living things in which pollen, flowers, earth, and trees occupy vital places to relativize our binary thinking, divided between male and female, colonial, post-colonial, animals and plants, human and post-human in our transhuman endeavor. The timbers constructing Shakespeare Theatre as well as Suzuki's Gashozuki Theatre were made from trees in the forest. Learning from these examples, let us now look at the forest, not from the outside, but from the inside. Then, with our hearted eye, we will be able to see, taste, hear, and conceive our own plants and planets inside us, like a jewel, my own, and not my own, as Helena and Betty has done. Thanks for listening. Cheers. Thanks for clapping too.
Thank you very much. Stay with us in case we have time for a few questions, please. Sure. And now we welcome our lead discussant, Alangkak Maiduang, Senior Academic Officer of the Institute of Promotion of Teaching Science and Vice President of IATC Thailand Center.
Thank you very much. So, shall we start off with Tamara's presentation, which I find very fascinating, especially the topic of blending the craziest style of theater of the absurd, with the most logical technology like algorithm. Yes, and you gave such a broad overview of what you study. I think in Slovak, in Slovak, and actually you mentioned some examples of the piece of the theater of the absurd of your study, and I haven't seen those plays that you mentioned, so kind of haven't gotten an idea of what the element in the theater of the absurd that you mentioned have a connection with the algorithm that you also mentioned. Can you give me a concrete example of the play that you study and the algorithm that you use to study how that relate in terms of dramaturgy? A little bit detailed.
Well, the inspiration for this came from my reading of the these plays that were generated in the Czechoslovakian context, because it's very when you read an absurdist play, you see those short replicas, sometimes not even logical. It's and when I read the play, such as the AI when Robert White read the play, which was the first one that I mentioned, there are a few examples where you can see the replicas are all very short, and they are very very much not I don't know, connecting to each other. So that was what first inspired me to delve deeper into this combination of theater of the absurd, which is because at some point I think the language that is produced by AI is just the I don't know, bone structure of our language we use daily. And that is what I think absurdists went into. So I may I don't know if I have the example in the paper that I have like crossed out
It's all right.
for
It's
the
all right. Yeah.
for the presentation, but if you read the whole paper, there are some examples of it, and it's like, I don't know, for me, like the craziest thing was in the Prague Clockwork Cabaret, where you can see these like very different people from the Czech history that like meet each other and they talk, and then they like have these conversations about really nothing. Like there is this scene, my favorite of all is where Beethoven meets Bedřich Smetana, which is a Czech composer, and then they meet Karel Gott, which they are standing like at the Vltava River and catching fish, and then they pull out Karel Gott out of Vltava River, and that like was the craziest thing ever that like inspired me to compare it to the theater of the absurd, because it is absurd.
Thank you. Actually, that leads to my second question. You also mentioned the AI-generated dialogue for the play, and especially for this kind of a theater of the absurd. You know, we all know that it always touch the most sensitive taboo every time, and we just experienced what the Pichet encountered this morning. They tried to ask the AI to generate something, and they said it's content sensitive. I can't do the job for you. Have you encountered this kind of a limitation of the AI to generate a kind of a dialogue, and then when you need to touch upon some sensitive issue, and then AI say, no, I can't work on that for you because it's violate the content policy?
Well, in our Czechoslovakian content, we are like very behind, so we don't like ask ChatGPT to delve into sensitive content. Like, I mean, it's these plays were just experiments to just try what it can do. But I think it's interesting to watch it and to write about it. But I think our creators still need to find a way to learn to work with it. And there is practically no like limitations, because it's not, the topics of the plays are not that very like limited.
Thank you. That's all. So shall we pass to the audience?
Thank you very much. And now we have time for a few questions from Zoom or from our audience here. The question could be also addressed to Ted Motohashi. Anyone? Hello, I'd like to address my question to the Midsummer Night's Dream and the discussion. I don't see you there, but I guess you are there. Good. Okay, good. Yes, I liked your discussion of Titania, and of course her argument with Oberon has become a kind of ecological standard. Now, it's also one of the longest speeches in all of Shakespeare's plays, so he puts a particular emphasis on it. But I wanted to suggest to you, because you mentioned her loyalty to the boy that she's adopted through her friendship with the mother, seems to get forgotten, and Oberon easily takes over takes possession of the boy when Titania is in love with Bottom. I want to suggest that the Bottom is not really her lover. He's another child. She's hugging a big, furry, stuffed animal. Remember, Oberon threatens her that she's going to fall in love with the first animal that comes by, be it wolf or tiger or lion. And that would be a pretty horrible scene for a comedy. But instead, here comes this furry, long-eared mule that she cuddles. and that she cajoles the way she would with a child, that her relationship with it is a kind of substitute child, and in a way, and that's why she forgets her little page. Another child has stolen her affections rather than an adult lover, which Oberon would never be able to countenance. So, just wanted to suggest that in your thinking.
That's great. First of all, I've just noticed that Manami made a comment in the chat that no sound came out of screen, which wasn't deliberately, not my mistake. But which means you all have to come to see Toga in person if you want to see that wonderful fireworks and anyway, I'm talking about that. About bottom, yes, you're absolutely right, I think. Bottom, in fact, is not, how do you say, exactly an ass, yeah, donkey. He is half human and half monster, transhuman creature. So, which is pretty significant that Titania is not fully in love with the animal, but half human, half monster creature, which Oberon can never do. So that's a wonderful comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, actually, I have
we have a
one question
here.
to Ted that I prepare here. Hello, Ted. Is still around? Yes. Thank you for your presentation. And what I want to ask you is about the adaptation of Gilgamesh and also the A Midsummer Night's Dream into Japanese version. As you highlight the importance of the ecology, the environment, and things, and we know that the context of the story, both in Gilgamesh and A Midsummer Night's Dream, is perhaps very different from Japan today. When you adapt these plays into Japanese culture, does that affect the way we look at the ecology? For example, the season. Do the season in Japan the same as the story in the Midsummer Night's Dream, or the plants, the environment and things? So in terms of ecology, how does it address when you adapt these plays into Japanese version?
One of the questions I want to thank you. You can see this, scene from Midsummer Night's Dream, the forest scene from Yami's production. Now, look at this forest very minutely. Maybe you can see if you can't see. It's a steel pipes and so on and so forth. But all these sceneries of forest are made out of newspapers. They're all made out of old newspapers. And if you look at these newspapers in the close range, you can see still that basic news reports from the long aspects. So it's not only technologically wonderful, but also ecologically precious performance, evoking kinds of our consciousness, whereas the devastation caused by too much technological advancement.
Thank you very much, Ted. Now our New York friends has a question.
Thank you. Natalie Ryan, American Theater Critics Association. My question is for Tamara. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and presentation. You spoke of individual intent versus sometimes problematic statistical results of LLMs. So I'm curious about your thoughts on the possibilities of LLMs in regard to creating a new shared and globalized source of inspiration and information, So in place of drawing on sort of shared religions or myths, as in theater history, how do you view the pros or cons of sort of drawing from the same well, so to speak, of these LLMs that are created and trained by specific and sometimes problematic individuals and corporations that are providing these results to all of us in a hyper-connected and globalized context? And sort of in your opinion as a digital native generation, by trying to capture and respond to our direction and prompts, is the internet, in your opinion, itself a sort of stage for absurdism?
Yeah, I mean, we need to like give it all ethics because I feel like the internet and all the interconnections are influencing us so much, and then the what I feel like AI is doing is like some kind of pyramid scheme when you like have all these data at the base of the pyramid, and then it creates some kind of average, and then average, and then average. And I am, after all my experience with AI and like things, I'm really afraid of the time when AI will start generate things based on AI. So in this context, I mean, like it is really scary for me. So that's why I think we need to give it strong ethical limitations, and like to set it and like to hold on it, because we need to train it well, and that is what I think is needed to be done. But I don't know if that is even possible in this like globalized world, really.
Thank you. We still have time for one, maybe two questions or commentary. Oh, there's a question over there.
So this question, I believe, can be answered by both Ted and Tamara. But it's mainly directed to Tamara's previous answer of ethical guidelines when training AI. So I'm sure most of us here are aware of the fact that AI takes an absurd, pun intended, amount of energy and electricity to train, especially with the large amount of parameters involved, and that emits a lot of carbon dioxide, and it's harming to the environment. So I'm curious as to your thoughts on sort of adding eco-consciousness as well to those ethical guidelines when using AI, because we cannot just use it for recreation most of the time, because if we don't want to contribute to further global warming, I feel like we should use it sparingly. So I'm curious as to your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, from my point as a PhD student who tries to write about AI and theater, I would not be mad if it was all shut down in a minute, because that is one of the main reasons that I think it's very harmful to the environment. So I will not be mad. I will find something else to write about. But I mean, I find it interesting as a researcher to go and to write about what's already been done by it, because it has been done and nobody can change that. So yeah, I mean, we can all just shut it down.
All right, thank you.
If I can take issues with AI, the wording which is intelligence. Okay? I think what we will learn here is very important, is that the word active. Because actions can be emotional, functional, producing effect, to order, also that. AI, by using the word intelligence, make some kind of distance between the physicality and the mentality. It all suggests a kind of that AI should have a kind of physicality because it can be a kind of life.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much to all of our speakers.